And starting at $25 a month, you could save up to $1,200 a year.
Thank you, Total Wireless, for helping me pull this off.
Total Wireless. Do amazing. Compatible 5G device required. 5G network in limited areas. Month equals 30 days. Savings claim made when compared to 4-line postpaid plans of leading carriers 10-20-20. See terms and conditions at totalwireless.com.
The radio home of the 76ers.
Simmons on a drive and down the lane with a right-hand jam.
WENJ HD Millville, Atlantic City. 97.3 ESPN. This is Sports Bash Saturday with Josh Hennig, live from the Matt Blatt Kia Studios. Now, Sports Bash Saturday. Here's Josh Hennig.
Sports Bash Saturday here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you here on a Saturday afternoon. Hope everyone's having a great weekend out there. Of course, text board is open at 609-403-0973. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at 973 ESPN. We got a lot of topics to get to this hour. Don't forget Sixers coming up at 3 p.m. here on 97.3 ESPN. I'll be talking with the UFC Welterweight champion of the world, Kamaru Usman, coming up at 1:20 p.m. this afternoon. We will give you my UFC picks for UFC 258. Of course, all my picks later in the show, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Use promo code Hennig when you sign up for same-game parlay insurance and a risk-free bet up to $1,000. FanDuel Sportsbook promo code Hennig when you sign up. Also, we'll get into the Eagles and the latest with the NFL as well here on Sports Bash Saturday on 97.3 ESPN. I think at this point in time, there's no new news when it comes to Carson Wentz. There's really no further information aside from what came out in the last couple of days, which is there's one report that says that there were 2 first-round picks and a third or fourth that was the best offer for Carson Wentz and the Eagles. There's another report out there that says that an NFL team says that was not the best offer and that their team offered the best offer that was better than that offer. Whatever the offer is, I think we all can agree that Carson Wentz is getting traded at some point. The bigger question is, then what? Then what happens to the Eagles if you move on from Carson Wentz? To me, that's what really the next stage of this conversation is. And I think we can have that conversation today because let's be realistic. If we're going to go forward with the idea that Carson Wentz is not going to be in Philadelphia anymore, then the reality is that who is going to be the quarterback next year? I know we all assume it's Jalen Hurts, but does it have to be Jalen Hurts? See, that's the part of the question I want to have answered here. Listen, I think Jalen Hurts could be an NFL quarterback. I really do. But is he really the best option moving forward? I'm inclined to say yes. My instinct is to say yes. But you do have the 6th overall pick. Theoretically, you could acquire a quarterback via trade or free agency. You could have a competition going in the camp next year. Just because we assume that Jalen Hurts is the starting quarterback doesn't mean he is the starting quarterback. Those are 2 different things. Now, I'm not going to act like I'm in love with any of the quarterbacks in the draft whose names are not Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields. And I think both of those guys will be picked and gone before the Eagles ever have a chance to get anybody else. Whether it's because, as Todd McShay's projecting, there's going to be 4 quarterbacks in the first 4 picks, or a team trades up ahead of the Eagles and grabs Fields. Because as we go through this process, I promise you this. Every team evaluating quarterbacks wants Trevor Lawrence. And now that they know they can't get Trevor Lawrence from the Jags, everyone else is going to want Wilson or Fields. And if I'm the Eagles, I have zero interest in Trey Lance. And it's not just because it's from North Dakota State. And I have zero interest in Mac Jones. And it's not because he's from Alabama. You don't need a rookie quarterback right now. You have a young quarterback to develop. There's no reason for the Eagles to go out there and acquire another quarterback. Think about it this way. You just bought a car. Why do you need a newer car? Literally, the car is brand new. You got it. You leased it. You got low payments, great insurance payments. Why do you need another car? Why do you need more drama in paradise? The Eagles don't need more drama. They need stability. The Eagles need stability moving forward. So no more quarterback controversy. Keep the head coach longer than a few years. Let this team get from where they are now, which is a team that is still licking their wounds from a season with a plethora of injuries and a quarterback controversy, firing a Super Bowl winning head coach. Let's have some stability. And I'm taking the position right here, right now, that you don't draft a quarterback. You don't go out and sign a quarterback to bring in for competition. Yes, you go out and sign a veteran who could be a backup and mentor Hurts and help him out a little bit. But Hurts is your guy. You drafted him in the second round. Howie Roseman said himself that the Eagles could not pass up Jalen Hurts. If you believe that about this young man, then when you trade Carson Wentz, that's got to be your quarterback. End of story, period. No questions asked. Now, what do you do with him after this year? Well, that's a different conversation. But for right now, right here in this moment, Jalen Hurts is your guy. Okay? Jalen Hurts is the guy. Now, for the veteran, I talked with Dave Weinberg earlier this week on game night on 97.3 ESPN, 6, 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. And Dave Weinberg thinks they should bring back Nick Foles to be the backup quarterback. I can rock with it. I think it's a good point that he makes, that Foles understands the city better than anybody else, that Foles understands what it takes to be a quarterback in Philadelphia. But I'm also intrigued by another free agent out there, Ryan Fitzpatrick. The word out there is that the Dolphins are not bringing Fitzmagic back. I think that Fitzpatrick is arguably the best backup quarterback in the NFL. There is nobody better to come in for a quarterback. There's no one better to deal with a young player who is still finding their feet. There is nobody better, in my opinion, that understands the league and is a relatable guy. He's not someone who is uptight. He's not someone who's aloof. He's just a good locker room guy. So to me, the focus of the Eagles, as soon as they trade Wentz, is who's the backup quarterback to support Jalen Hurts. You got to support this young man. You got to put him in the best position to be successful. The Eagles got to make sure that Hurts is in a position to be successful. And part of that is making sure you have the right backup quarterback behind him. I don't want a quarterback competition with Wentz gone. I want Hurts to be the guy. I want this team to make sure that everyone's healthy on the offensive line. Maybe you bring in another veteran receiver. Maybe you do a couple things on the offense to kind of shore up the tools and the weapons around him. But Hurts has got to be the guy moving forward. What do you think? 609-403-0973 is the text board to get on the conversation. 609-403-0973. We also live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. As you watch the show, you can comment on the stream as we go along with the show. 609-403-0973 is the text board, at 973 ESPN on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter to watch the show. So now on top of all of that, in my opinion, Hurts is the quarterback. You bring in a veteran, whether it's Foles, Fitzmagic, whoever. The next step is, how do we make sure that we are not in cap hell, cap purgatory, whatever you want to call it? The reports are out there that Wentz is getting traded. Now, how that impacts your cap is going to have a big part of this situation. And again, the report is out there. Ron Jaworski reported that the Colts have offered 2 second-round picks for Wentz. There are other reports out there that the market has cooled on Carson Wentz over the last week, and that the Bears are losing interest. And there are reports that there are speculation out there that the Eagles have to come off of their initial asking price, which again, according to different people out there, is they want a Matthew Stafford type of return for Wentz, which they're not going to get. They were never going to get, because half the reason why the Lions got 2 first-round picks and Jared Goff was because they were basically paying the Lions to take Jared Goff off their hands. I don't think it's completely unreasonable that you could get a first-round pick for Wentz, but I had this conversation with Hunter Brody yesterday on the Sports Bash with 97.3 ESPN. I think when you look around the quarterback market out there, Matt Ryan's probably getting traded. Sam Darnold is likely to get traded. Deshaun Watson is going to be traded probably at some point. The expectation that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be traded. Add on top of that, you're going to see 5 rookie quarterbacks drafted. You could potentially have 10 plus new quarterbacks starting in the NFL in new locations next year. I at least expect Trevor Lawrence to be starting in Jacksonville. I expect that whoever drafts Justin Fields and Zach Wilson to consider starting them day one. I at least assume that the 49ers' lack of commitment to Jimmy Garoppolo means they're probably going to move on from him. I'm assuming that Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford are going to start for their team. So you're going to have a lot of new quarterbacks around the NFL. And with all of this movement, the Eagles are gauging the market. And if they're serious about trading Wentz, they are going to have to take what they can get. I don't think that you're going to get as good of a return as Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is arguably one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the NFL. So you're not getting that return that you would get for Watson. Then you look over at a guy, for example, like Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's a league MVP. He took a team to the Super Bowl. Yeah, he's a little older, but he's still got something in the tank. He's thrown for 4,000 yards, 10 straight years? I think he gets a better return on investment in a trade than Carson Wentz. So then it comes down to Sam Darnold. If you are a team that maybe is not really high on Trey Lance, Mac Jones, and the other young quarterbacks, Sam Darnold's probably the guy that you're targeting if you don't want Wentz. Because at this point, Wentz, he's no longer a young player, but he's still young enough to be developed and salvaged and turned into a starter. Darnold is younger than Wentz. He's less expensive than Wentz. Realistically, the only teams that can take on Wentz are teams that can absorb at least some of his contract. That's why the Colts are being discussed. That's why the Broncos are being discussed out there by different reports. Like, you need a team that can take on the contract of Wentz. That's the key to trading him. Because if you're the Eagles, you're trying to unload as much of that money as possible. So if you're trying to unload as much money as possible, then if you're the Eagles, you got to make sure that the team you're trading him to can take that hit, or is willing to take the hit, or willing to work with you in moving the money along or moving the money around. Remember, when Nick Foles got traded from the Jags to the Bears, he renegotiated his contract to make it work. But if your team's around the NFL, Sam Darnold, you don't have to do that with. You don't have to renegotiate his deal. He's still on his rookie deal. If you're a team that's having to make a decision between Darnold and Wentz, I don't think it's an easy decision. I think it's a very difficult decision because both quarterbacks have questions. Both quarterbacks, I don't think we're 100% sure what they are. When I look at Darnold, I do see some of Wentz. When I see Wentz, I do see some of Darnold. I see 2 young men who have potential, who have talent, but their talent is not being accentuated right now. So if your talent's not being accentuated, then you have to go somewhere that's going to unlock that talent. And there are some teams that may look at Darnold and say, I'd rather take a risk on that guy than absorb Wentz's contract or Wentz's money long term. You know, one of the reasons why the Eagles want to trade him as soon as possible is because they want to get that roster bonus off of their books. They don't want to have to pay that roster bonus. So some teams have to pay that for you if you trade him. You don't have that problem with Darnold. And if you're the Bears, if the Bears are, as reports say, are losing interest, then guess what? Maybe Darnold is our target. Or maybe they, try to get into the Matt Ryan sweepstakes. I think no matter what, the Bears are acquiring a quarterback this offseason because the Mitch Trubisky era is done and Ryan Pace needs to save his job. Here's a list of the teams real quick that need quarterbacks this offseason. The Chicago Bears, the Indianapolis Colts, the Washington football team. If San Francisco trades Jimmy G, they are an opening. Atlanta, quarterback questions. Cowboys, they're not really making a trade, but the Dak Prescott situation is looming over their heads. They have a situation at quarterback moving forward. Do they just lock up Dak on a franchise tag, or do they actually give him a legitimate contract? Those are two different situations. Houston, if they trade Deshaun Watson, who's their quarterback moving forward? Carolina, are they 100% committed to Teddy Bridgewater long-term, or is he a bridge quarterback and they'll draft a quarterback? There's a lot of rumors out there that the Panthers love Mac Jones, that the Panthers are considering trading up to draft a quarterback with the Dolphins potentially, who have the 3rd overall pick. The New England Patriots, they need a quarterback. The Cam Newton experiment didn't work out. And don't tell me Jarrett Stidham is the quarterback of the future. Anyone with a half a brain who can watch football knows that Jarrett Stidham is not the quarterback of the future in New England. Denver Broncos, questions about Drew Lock. Is he really the future at quarterback? Nobody really knows. And with John Elway moving from GM up the ladder and them hiring a new general manager in Denver, and John Elway becoming now the football operations president only, there's speculation that Elway, part of him making that move, is to remove himself from the quarterback situation. So if Elway's moving himself from the quarterback situation, then does the new GM say, well, I didn't draft Locke. I don't need a Locke. I'm going to go out and get my own guy. So there's a lot of moving parts here around the NFL. And the question is, who's going where? The initial report was that Carson Wentz had 5 teams interested. If the Bears are losing interest, then now you're down to 4 teams. We know for sure that Colts are one of those teams. There's a lot of speculation out there that the Broncos are another one of those teams. Would the Patriots call the Eagles and make a deal? It's possible. Would there be a scenario where Carson Wentz could be involved in a 3 or 4-way deal with multiple players moving so everyone gets the assets they want? The reason I say that is because I genuinely think that Kyle Shanahan is done with Jimmy Garoppolo. I think that the Jimmy Garoppolo thing has hit its expiration date in San Francisco. I think that it's obvious that Shanahan is not enthralled with the quarterback anymore. So I can see Shanahan going to his GM, John Lynch, and saying, go get me one of my old quarterbacks. Matt Ryan in Atlanta, Kirk Cousins in Minnesota. 2 quarterbacks who have worked with Shanahan and both had phenomenal years under his coaching. And where Wentz falls into this is, if it is Minnesota, I can see the Vikings calling Howie Roseman and trying to work out a deal to get Wentz, because I don't think that the Vikings want Jimmy G. You know who does want Jimmy G? Bill Belichick. That was the guy that Belichick wanted to be the heir apparent to Tom Brady, but he was forced to trade him away. So a lot of scenarios. We'll touch on them all coming up next here on Sports Bash Saturday on 97.3 ESPN. The text board is open at 609-403-0973. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, we're streaming live at 973 ESPN with all your thoughts coming up next right here on Sports Bash Saturday on 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. I'm Josh Hennig. You can come on Twitter at Josh Hennig. We've got more coming up next here on 97.3 ESPN.
Today on the NBA on ESPN Radio.
Back to Curry, squares for 3. Steph Curry lighting up the Oracle like he does on most nights.
Steph Curry and the Warriors welcome Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets, marking Durant's return to the Bay for the first time since leaving Golden State.
The place is here, the
It's the NBA on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 8 p.m.
It's a new day.
Start off the new year with a new ride from Rossi Honda. Get first time ever 0% up to 60 months. Add in our free oil changes with tire protection only at Rossi. Lease a new Honda HR-V LX for only $99 a month. Or lease a new Honda CR-V LX for only $199 a month.
It's a new day.
Only at RossiHonda.com. We treat you better, period. See dealer for details.
Microban 24 protects against Staphylococcus aureus and Enterobacter aerogenes bacteria, but does not provide 24-hour protection against viruses. Hear that? That's Microban 24, killing bacteria on your bathroom doorknob for 24 hours. Spray on hard surfaces to kill 99.9% of viruses and bacteria initially, including the COVID-19 virus. Once dry, Microban is proven to keep killing bacteria for 24 hours. Touch after touch. Keep killing bacteria for 24 hours with Microban 24.
East Coast Roofing and Siding, protecting what you love and own. East Coast Roofing and Siding, trust us with your family and home.
Hi, I'm Larry Styler.
And I'm Sean Styler.
We'd like to remind you that East Coast Roofing, Siding, and Windows is a professional business open year-round and has been serving South Jersey since 1979. It seems, however, that many of you feel sorry for us in the cold and hold off calling until spring, along with everyone else. The truth is, we and our families eat as much in the winter as we do in the summer. So call us now while prices and wait times are at their lowest and learn how great financing plans can help you. And please don't feel bad. We have Long Johns and we'll wear them. So call 646-1444 or visit us online at eastcoastroofing.com. If you'll call, we'll show up.
East Coast Roofing and Siding, trust us with your family and home.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 5510 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 5510. Enjoy.
A message from your neighbors and friends at First Bank. We've been serving residents and businesses of Sea Isle City and the surrounding communities for more than 130 years. Today's challenges, while unique, are another opportunity to show our strength and resilience. Our commitment to you remains strong. Whether it's using our drive-through services, bank by phone, the First Bank mobile app, or online banking, we're staying strong with you. Be safe and be secure. First Bank, here for you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This President's Day at eBay, we want to prove like new is better than brand new. So we're not only giving up to 50% off certified refurbished, but we're adding an extra 20% off coupon too. Because while brand new is nice, it's also twice the price. And if you don't love our like new products, they all come with an industry-leading 2-year warranty. So this President's Day, say goodbye to brand new and find certified amazing deals at eBay, where good is new just got better.
Looking for the perfect gift for your sweetheart this Valentine's Day? Why not treat your sweetie to a gift card from Dr. Lila and Back's Cosmetic Surgery Center of Cherry Hill. Gift cards can be used for anything from skincare products or services to surgery and everything in between. Hydrofacials, microneedling, skin rejuvenation, Botox, facial fillers like Juvederm, Radius, and Bellafill, liposuction, breast augmentation, and more. And Dr. Back's gift cards never expire. Call or stop in to get your Valentine's Day gift card. Call 856-MAKEOVER or visit ilovelilback.com. Staples.com.
What's in store this week at Staples?
Everything you need for a totally productive workspace.
Staples has the technology, supplies, and furniture you need to upgrade your workspace at amazing prices.
Like right now, select chairs are 40% off.
Plus, when you buy any office chair, get 25% off all desks, file cabinets, chair mats, bookcases, and lighting purchases.
Shop in store or pick up curbside.
Upgrade your workspace and save at Staples. See staplesconnect.com for details.
Ends 2/27/21. In-store only while supplies last. Curbside available at most stores.
Before you move in and start making a lifetime of memories, there's something you should remember: the value of working with a realtor. A realtor is more than an expert in the field who abides by a code of ethics. A realtor is your neighbor and your ally. Someone who puts your agenda ahead of theirs. Someone who understands your dreams and has the expertise to make them a reality. Finding the right place starts with you and a realtor, and the doors we open together. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone, where we've got more ways to get what you need fast and take care of that fall tune-up. With our free same-day store pickup, you can order online and pick it up today at your local AutoZone. Or we can bring it to you with our free next-day delivery. Just order on AutoZone.com by 10 p.m. and we'll have it at your front door the next day. Getting your job done just got easier. Free next-day delivery on eligible orders. Restrictions at AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
This is Sports Bash Saturday with Josh Hennig, live from the Matt Blatt Kia Studios. Here's Josh Hennig.
Josh Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN. The text board is open at 609-403-0973. You can also watch the show on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and comment down below on the stream. 97.3 ESPN. Talking about the Eagles quarterback situation. We'll also get to the Sixers a little bit later. Sixers playing the Suns at 3 o'clock today on 97.3 ESPN. Also, my conversation with UFC welterweight champion Kamaru Usman coming up at 1:20 p.m. today. But, of course, we are talking to Eagles right now, 609-403-0973. We'll do your comments on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter as well in just a moment. Let's first start with Brian in Absecon. Brian in Absecon says, I don't think Howie ever truly expected to get 2 first-round picks, but 2 seconds doesn't exactly pique my interest. Better off waiting than rushing into it. That's Brian in Absecon. You know, Brian, I asked this question to Adam Kaplan on Football at 4 yesterday, Adam Kaplan, Eagles NFL Insider, about the fact that, you know, there seems to be 2 camps right now of Eagle fans. There's the camp of Eagle fans, Brian, that say, well, I don't want to make a bad deal. I want to wait for the best deal. And there's another camp that says, you got to trade him now. You got to get rid of him now, or you're going to lose people's interest. And I see both sides of the argument. To me, I feel like Howie Roseman has made enough trades that he understands the market better than anyone. And I agree with you. I don't think Howie ever really expected to get 2 first-round picks, but I do think Howie wants to get at least 1 first-round pick. I think that's kind of where the rub is right now. I think the rub is that Howie doesn't want to just give Wentz away. I think Howie wants to turn around and say, I'm trying to get real value for this quarterback. So the 2 second-round picks is not exactly exciting. And I get that. And I understand your perspective, Brian. But I was telling this to Hunter Brody yesterday. Not all second-round picks are the same. If you can get a second-round pick that's in the top 10 picks of the second round, you're still getting a first-round caliber talent in the second round. Guys like T. Higgins and Michael Pittman and DeAndre Swift were all taken in the top 10 picks of the second round. In fact, the only really bad second-round pick from this last year's draft was drafted by the Patriots. So read into that what you will. So to me, if I'm getting a second-round pick that's in that top 10 range, that's a huge difference. You know, the 35th pick in the draft to me is different than the 45th pick. So I need to know what those 2 second-round picks are before I sit there and poo-poo it. But that's just my opinion. That's from Brian Epsika, Texas. That in 609-403-0970. Also, you can comment on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter as you watch the show. Another text that came in on the text board. Dan from EHC says, it seems simple to me. No team wants Wentz's contract. Teams are clearly better off going in another direction. Renegotiate the contract is what will have to happen. Well, Dan from EHC, first of all, I think they should renegotiate the deal no matter what. I think the Eagles need to force Wentz to talk to them, or at least force his agent to talk to them and say, listen, your client doesn't want to be here. We'll get your client out of here, but you got to give us a little wiggle room with this contract. You got to, and I think that they will. I can't believe in any reality or in any scenario that Wentz and his agent are unwilling to work with the Eagles to get him out of Philadelphia. If Wentz seriously doesn't want to be here, I don't see a scenario where they don't renegotiate the deal. So they got to do something. They got to renegotiate the deal somehow. I think that's going to happen no matter what. I think the problem right now, Dan HT, is the reason why interest is waning and teams are looking in a different direction is because I think teams want to know what the market is for the other quarterbacks. I mentioned Sam Darnold, Matt Ryan, Deshaun Watson, Jimmy Garoppolo, Mitch Trubisky's a free agent. Ryan Fitzpatrick's a free agent. You're going to get 5 quarterbacks in the first round of the draft. Teams are evaluating their options and if Wentz is really the best option for them. Remember, just because the Eagles are willing to trade him doesn't mean everybody wants to trade for him in the first place. So the interest and the return on the trade is not the only thing that has to be factored in here. Don't forget, Wentz's contract, because of the way it's structured and because of the way a renegotiation may have to happen, may be part of the reason why you're only getting offered 2 second-round picks from potentially a team like the Colts. And here's why I say that. Go back a few years ago. Go back in the time machine here. Brock Osweiler was traded with a second-round pick to the Cleveland Browns in a salary dump. The Houston Texans were trying to get rid of the guy. They made a mistake. They were trying to get their way out of it. They were trying to find a way to eat some money and get out from under the Osweiler contract long term. The conversation with the Colts, reason why it might be 2 second-round picks, maybe the Colts turn to the Eagles and say, look, we will work with you in absorbing more money on Wentz's contract than other teams are willing to do. And if the Eagles go to the Colts and say, well, what can you give us? The reason why the Colts are saying, we'll give you 2 second-round picks is because maybe the Colts are saying, we won't give you a first-round pick because we're absorbing so much of the money. So that may have something to do with it. They're going to renegotiate the contract some way no matter what, because I just don't see a way the Eagles are just going to take a $50 million cap hit and just say, have a nice life, Wentz. I think they're going to find a way to bring that down just like the Jaguars did, or Jaguars or Jackson, whatever you want to call them. The team that Urban Meyer coaches now that was previously coached by Doug Marrone with Tom Coughlin in the front office and Dave Caldwell. They got Foles' contract renegotiated so it wouldn't be a huge salary cap hit. So when the Jags traded him to the Bears, they didn't get burdened down with the leftovers of Foles' contract. And I don't see why the Eagles can't do the same. 609-403-0973 is the text board. 609-403-0973. Also, you can comment on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, as well as you watch the show at 973 ESPN. I got to get to this comment from John in Tuckerton. Now, I preface this by saying, in no way do I endorse what John in Tuckerton is saying, and I'll explain why when I read the full text. John in Tuckerton says, the Eagles should trade Wentz to Chicago for Foles, 2 second-round picks, and a 4th-round pick. Then trade Hurts to Houston with our 1st-round pick, the 2 seconds and the 4th from Chicago. That way we get Watson and Foles as the backup. Well, first of all, John, that sounds great in a world where everybody cooperates with you and everybody does what you want. Okay. I don't see Chicago allowing you to get Deshaun Watson. The reports are out of Chicago that Ryan Pace wants to get Deshaun Watson, that he realizes the error of his ways in drafting Trubisky and he wants to make up for that. And he's willing to sell the farm to get Watson. The problem is when teams are calling the Texans are hanging up on them. They're saying, nah, we're not trading Watson. For some reason, and I don't know why, Cal McNair, the owner of the Texans, Nick Caserio, the new GM, and the shadow master, the shadow puppet master, Jack Easterby in Houston, they don't want to trade Watson. They refuse to trade him even though he doesn't want to be there. They're willing to let J.J. Watt walk, to go to another team, but they don't want to move on and let Watson leave. So it's a great theory, John Tuckerton, but doesn't exist in reality. Because in reality, there's no way Chicago is letting you develop a large enough draft pick package to get Watson when they would just go get Watson themselves. Listen, Ryan Pace is a guy who will mortgage the farm, and we've seen him do it before. He did it to get Khalil Mack. He gave up a lot to get Mack. We saw him move up one pick to get Mitch Trubisky. There's no way that Chicago is going to be a part of a situation for the Eagles to get the guy that they want. And with Houston not answering anybody's phone calls right now, I'm supposed to believe that Houston is going to make a trade at all. I appreciate the effort, John Tuckerton, but that's just not going to happen. Again, the text board is open, 609-403-0973. Billy Schwein from the locker room, even though he already finished his show, as a comment on the Facebook stream. Billy Schwein says, the Eagles would never get a number one pick for Wentz because other teams know how dysfunctional their relationship is. Well, first of all, Billy, the Eagles' relationship with Wentz has no bearing on a team trading for him. Because if a team thinks they can fix Wentz or they can get the most out of Wentz, his relationship with the Eagles has nothing to do with the conversation. At all. Nada. Zilch. Nobody cares about the relationship with the Eagles between them and Wentz. See, the problem is in this situation, and John for Tuckerton is something similar here. You are projecting your perspective on the situation onto other people. You're assuming that everybody is looking at things the same way you are. Everybody is falling in line with how you're viewing things. I highly doubt that Chris Ballard, the GM in Chicago, or Ryan Pace, the GM in Ryan Pace, GM in Chicago, Chris Ballard in Indianapolis, John Elway in Denver, John Lynch in San Francisco, Bill Belichick in New England. I don't think any of these guys really care about Wentz's relationship with the Eagles. I think they care about what is the amount I have to trade away to get a quarterback. What are the Eagles willing to accept in a trade? And what is the status of Wentz's contract? What is the status of Wentz moving forward? That's what they're worried about. They don't care about Wentz's relationship with the Eagles because everybody assumes I can fix the guy. I can do it better. I know better. I'm smarter than the Eagles. I'm smarter than the coaches. I can make this work. I can get the most out of this guy. In order for you to be an NFL head coach, you got to have a certain level of gravitas, a certain level of chutzpah to believe that you know better than somebody else. And in this case, part of the reason why teams are willing to trade for Wentz is because they believe that they can do better than the Eagles. That's a huge, huge part of this. We'll get to more of your comments coming up at 609-403-0973. Also, if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, you can comment on the stream about the Eagles quarterback situation. Hurts' future. Should he be the starting quarterback? Eagles trading away Wentz. Do you accept 2 second-round picks? Should they hold out for more? Josh Hennig here on Sports Bash Saturday on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Don't forget, Sixers basketball coming up at 3 o'clock today on 97.3 ESPN. Sixers versus Suns. The next game of the Sixers road trip. They're already 1-1 on this current road trip. Can they go to 2-1? Find out with Tom McGinnis on the call coming up at 3 p.m. on 97.3 ESPN FM. Also following that will be Villanova versus Creighton in college basketball. As a triple header of basketball action tonight because at 8 p.m. tonight, coverage of Nets versus Warriors right here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Also, want to remind you, coming up at 1:20 p.m. today, I'll be chatting with UFC welterweight champion of the world, Kamaru Usman, about his fight tonight as he defends his title against Gilbert Burns at UFC 258. A lot to go here on 97.3 ESPN. And, of course, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. You can watch the show on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. Just follow 973 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you. We'll be right back.
It's Sixers basketball later today on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Joe Harris throws it away. Simmons with a steal. Simmons down the lane. Oh, yeah. Right down Broad Street with a two-hand jam.
The Sixers are in Phoenix to face the Suns later today. Coverage begins at 3 p.m. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN.
It's a new year and an all-new Matt Blatt Nissan. Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township next to Home Depot. Help us celebrate when you get out of that old car, truck, or SUV and into a brand new Nissan 2020 Nissan Kicks. $4,000 off MSRP on in-stock units or get 0% APR financing for 60 months on new in-stock Nissan Kicks, Sentra, or Altima models. Plus, Matt Blatt Nissan has fast-track checkout available online at mattblattnissan.com. Our non-touch delivery and electronic paperwork ensures your safety comes first. We want to help with your credit approval today so you can drive a new Nissan with 0% APR financing. Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township or online at mattblattnissan.com. Unapproved credit. Negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle. All factory rebates and incentives to dealer. 0% APR financing based on 15/16 per 1,000 borrowed. Offers can't be combined. Call 888-731-5030 for all the details. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Hey, Matthew, we need to restock those sleeping bags.
Indeed knows unexpected growth can stretch your business thin.
One of you cover this register?
Like at Anita's outdoor store. To keep sales climbing, she needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, bro, I don't think I can help you move Saturday. My back is really bugging me. I just don't think I can handle it. Sorry.
Hey, dude, it's John. I know I told you I'd be able to help you move. I think Michelle's really mad at me for something. What's that, honey? Oh, dude, I gotta go. Sorry, man.
Call Clark's Moving and Storage in South Jersey for your next local or long-distance move. Clark's, dependable and always shows up. Call 609-889-0780.
In honor of President's Day, Dell delivers savings to help America's small businesses get more done. Office Anywhere, with up to 50% off high-performance laptops, desktops, and servers with Intel Core processors and top-brand electronics. Plus, refresh now with flexible financing options. Call 877-ASK-DELL for a Dell Technologies advisor who can help you find the right tech. That's 877-ASK-DELL or visit Dell.com/President's Day.
Hey guys, are you afraid of taking off your shirt in public? Don't be embarrassed. Just say, I love Lyle back instead with male breast reduction. Many men develop a fullness in their chest as boys that persists and even worsens as they get older. This condition is called gynecomastia, and with simple liposuction, most cases can be effectively treated. Call 856-MAKEOVER today to schedule your private consultation with Dr. Lyle and Back. That's 856-MAKEOVER or visit iloveLyleBack.com.
If you're a first-time buyer, finding your first real home can feel like this.
Hot property. Not going to last long. Multiple offers. 30 or fixed. We need earnest money.
But a realtor has the expertise to strip away all the noise and focus on what really matters to you.
You're going to love this place. Great neighborhood. School is walkable. It even has a huge yard so Henry can practice his penalty kicks.
Finding the right place starts with you and a realtor with the expertise to make sure your voice is the only voice that matters. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Babe, look, Cash Pop from the New Jersey Lottery. We just got to match one number, 1 through 15, to win.
Whoa, so easy.
Our anniversary date? September
6th?
14th.
Not to interrupt you guys, but the more numbers you play, the better your odds of winning.
Well, the 6th was our first date anniversary.
Aw, let's play both numbers.
With Cash Pop, you could win up to 250 times your wager. So pop in and play. Anything can happen in Jersey. Must be 18 or older to buy a lottery ticket. Please play responsibly. If you or somebody knows a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Sure, we can help you knock that oil change right off your list. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Castrol Edge full synthetic motor oil and an STP extended life oil filter for just $29.99, plus a $10 bonus reward if you're an AutoZone Rewards member. Not a member? We can sign you up fast, right here in store or on AutoZone.com. Getting the job done just got easier. Terms at AutoZone.com/rewards. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Do you love a good cigar almost as much as your family? Well, maybe that's an exaggeration, but you can find that perfect cigar at Smokers Haven. With 5 New Jersey locations, Smokers Haven has the finest selection of cigars in the area, like Ashton, My Father's, Romeo and Julieta, Monte Cristo, and more. All from the finest tobacco leaves and hand-rolled by the world's finest cigar makers. All locations are fully open. Stop in and let them help you find the perfect cigar to pair with your life. See all they have and their locations at smokershavennj.com.
On some models excludes Corvette. With GMF financing, excludes prior sales. See dealer for details.
It's President's Day all month long at Bennett Chevrolet with our biggest, boldest, best deals ever, saving you up to 25% off MSRP on brand new vehicles. Right now, Bennett Chevy is selling brand new vehicles at GM supplier employee pricing. Plus, you keep all the rebates that can save you as much as 25% off MSRP. But there's even more ways to save with 0% financing available. Plus, if you're looking for pre-owned, Bennett will pay you a minimum $7,000 for your trade towards any pre-owned in stock. That's a minimum $7,000 for your trade, no matter its condition. Imagine how much more you'll get for a good trade. And once you've dealt with our non-commissioned sales team, you'll rave about the wonderful experience with no need to negotiate and no hassles, because our team is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. It's President's Day all this month at Bennett. Find new roads at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
This is Sports Bash Saturday with Josh Hennig, live from the Matt Blatt Kia Studios. Here's Josh Hennig.
Sports Bash Saturday here on 97.3 ESPN. Yes, live in the Matt Blatt Kia Studios at Matt Blatt Kia, located on Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township. They want to get you approved today. That's Matt Blatt Kia. Also online at mattblattkia.com. We'll get back to your comments and texts and everything. 609-403-0973. Also, watching on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Thank you for watching the show today on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter at 973 ESPN, where you comment as well. Before we get to the messages on the stream, we'll get a couple texts in here at 609-403-0973. Someone followed up on John Tuckerton's text. Says either John's trade was accepted, or Watson even want to play in Philadelphia. He has a no trade clause, so he has 100% say where he's traded. That is 100% correct, Texter. That's another element of this. Watson, unlike Wentz, has a no trade clause. Wentz doesn't have a no trade clause. Wentz can be traded, and he has to accept it. The Eagles could trade him to Alaska, even though he might not like that because it's isolated away from the Philly media. But Watson might not want to be here. You know, Watson's an interesting guy because for those who don't know his background, you know, he was, before he got to Clemson, he was not as highly recruited as some of the other top quarterback prospects. He could have gone to other schools. He took the Clemson thing because they sold him on the idea of him, you know, starting and playing for a national championship, which they had not won it yet at that point. Watson was the start of the Clemson dynasty as we know it today over in college football. So when you think about the situation with Watson, he comes from humble beginnings. He grew up with a single mom. He didn't have money. He didn't have a lot of opportunities in life. He earned everything he got. So, you know, for someone like him, he may look at certain teams and certain cities and just say, I don't want to play there. I don't want to be there. I have no interest in going there. And you could argue that Deshaun Watson is pulling an NBA power play in terms of players saying, get me out of here, but I'm going to pick and choose where I want to go. So Texter is right. Even if all things were equal, maybe Deshaun Watson will be in Philadelphia. There's a lot of talk that Deshaun Watson wants to go to Miami, or he wants to go somewhere in the South, maybe even Atlanta, for example, and play there. That he doesn't want to go to the Northeast. So read into that what you will. Watching on YouTube at 973 ESPN, Connor Spencer says, I can still see a scenario where Wentz is still here another year. Here's the thing, Connor. I'm leaning toward the no on that because I think that this situation, you know, the cat's out of the bag, the toothpaste out of the toothpaste tube, you know, whatever scenario you want to call it. You know, the fire's already out of control. It's already a forest fire. Whatever analogy you want to use, I don't see a scenario where the Eagles can just, put a Band-Aid on this situation and say, we'll go through one more year. It's not a big deal. Everything said in the media, everything reported, everything that happened this year, we're just going to forget about it. Let's move on. I just don't know if you can do that in reality. When I look at the Philadelphia Eagles, I see a franchise that imploded this past year. I see an owner that was very unhappy with the situation, and he didn't like the answers he got from his head coach about how to fix the problem moving forward. I think the owner looks at the situation in Philadelphia and says, I want something different. And he himself described Carson Wentz as an asset. That's telling to me. I don't know about the rest of you. You could tell me at 609-403-0973, or you can comment on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter while you watch the show. For me, when the owner says the quarterback is an asset, he didn't call him the franchise quarterback. He didn't say he is our starting quarterback. He called him an asset. He then went on to say how talented Wentz is and how phenomenal his potential is and all this stuff. It's almost like he was starting to sell him. So if that's what the owner thinks of the situation, and to me, the owner is the end-all be-all. I don't think a lot of you out there blame the owner enough for what's going on. Remember, if you don't like Howie Roseman, blame the owner. The owner is the one who said 10 years ago, after Andy Reid had a bad draft, let's go with Howie's board. The owner is the one who told Howie, go out and go get Chip Kelly. And he was the one who was able to get Chip Kelly. The owner is the one that brought Howie back from the broom closet after Chip Kelly was fired. The owner is the one who fired Doug Peterson and kept Howie Roseman, and had Howie Roseman and him go out and find a new head coach. 609-403-0973 is the text board. Thanks to Connor for chiming in on the YouTube feed. Dan EHC follows up and says, is it possible that Wentz's value has dropped so much that he can't be dealt? I'm not so sure that teams believe he can be fixed. Wentz's resume is below average outside 2017. So a little background for folks out there before I answer Dan's question. Dan and EHC and I have had a friendly debate for the last, Dan, I want to say 2 years now, about Wentz and his potential and what he can and can't do. Dan has always taken the position that Wentz is a turnover-prone machine, which I don't agree with, and he points to fumbles a lot, which my answer has always been that Deshaun Watson fumbles the ball too, but nobody calls him a turnover-prone machine. But anyway, so Dan's coming from this position that Wentz is maybe a lesser quarterback than other people believe he is. That's part of the reason why he's asking the question. Listen, Dan, I have to respectfully disagree with you because, number one, like the other texters, and like I was saying to Billy Schweim earlier when he messaged the show on the stream, you can't project your own opinion about a player in a situation onto everyone else. You got to remove your own opinion and your own beliefs and your own theories from the situation and view it from other people's perspective. As I said earlier, you don't become an NFL head coach or an NFL GM if you don't have a certain level of chutzpah, gravitas, stones, whatever phrase you want to use, a certain level of ego to say, I know better than fill in the blank. I know more than somebody else. I'm smarter than somebody else. So there's always going to be someone out there who thinks they can fix somebody. Jerry Jones thinks he can rehab every malcontent in the NFL, right? John Gruden thinks he can make any quarterback work. He showed that in Tampa. He brought in Marcus Mariota last year to back up Derek Carr. There are coaches and GMs and executives who think that they know better than somebody. And I guarantee you there's someone out there who thinks Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie and Doug Peterson are idiots, and that they know better and they can make Wentz work. So keep that in mind with this conversation. Now, Wentz's value, yes, that is something that I think is a little bit more in the conversation. As I said earlier, if you compare Wentz to Matt Ryan, you compare him to Sam Darnold, you compare him to Jimmy Garoppolo, Deshaun Watson, Mitch Trubisky, Ryan Fitzpatrick, the 5 rookies in the draft. Where does he fall on that list? To me, that's where the value is. It's not as much about Wentz's resume, because Wentz's resume is subjective. You mentioned 2017, but there's a lot of people who study a lot of film, who know more football than you and I do, who look at that run in 2019 in that December when they won those games, he carried the team. They view that as a huge positive in Wentz's resume. So while you and I can critique it and rip it and say all kinds of things about it, there are people who are football gurus who think that's a big deal. We'll get into more of this coming up next. Josh Hennig, Sports Bash Saturday, 97.3 ESPN, and live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff. Learn more, live better.
We've all heard this before. Maintain an attitude of gratitude. While that may sound like a cliche, studies show that when we practice gratitude, it's easier to find joy, inner strength, and overcome stress. But in these unusual times, it can be challenging. Gratitude takes practice just like any other skill. Here are some ways to cultivate gratitude on a regular basis. Write a thank you note. You can make yourself happier and nurture your relationship with another person. Keep a gratitude journal. Make it a habit to write down or share your thoughts about your everyday blessings. Stay physically active and meditate. Mindful meditation involves focusing on the present moment without judgment. When we express gratitude, our brain releases dopamine and serotonin, 2 elements that enhance our mood, making us feel happy from the inside. So today, be sure to practice an attitude of gratitude. I'm Robin Stoloff for Health Update.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff, empowering you to live a healthier life.
It's a new year and an all-new Matt Blatt Nissan. Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township next to Home Depot. Help us celebrate when you get out of that old car, truck, or SUV and into a brand new Nissan. 2020 Nissan Kicks. $4,000 off MSRP on in-stock units, or get 0% APR financing for 60 months on new in-stock Nissan Kicks, Sentra, or Altima models. Plus, Matt Blatt Nissan has fast-track checkout available online at mattblattnissan.com. Our non-touch delivery and electronic paperwork ensures your safety comes first. We want to help with your credit approval today so you can drive a new Nissan with 0% APR financing. Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, or online at mattblattnissan.com. Unapproved credit. Negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle. All factory rebates and incentives to dealer. 0% APR financing based on 15/16 for 1,000 borrowed. Offers can't be combined. Call 888-731-5030 for all the details. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 5510 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 5510. Enjoy.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone, where we've got more ways to get what you need fast and take care of that fall tune-up. With our free same-day store pickup, you can order online and pick it up today at your local AutoZone. Or we can bring it to you with our free next-day delivery. Just order on AutoZone.com by 10 p.m. and we'll have it at your front door the next day. Getting your job done just got easier. Free next-day delivery on eligible orders. Restrictions at AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Okay, set it down over there and then go to bay 5.
Indeed knows unexpected growth can stretch your business
We
thin.
need to keep going to finish.
Like Amir's warehouse. To expand capacity, he needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Renee.
Happy to be here.
She's not some influencer. She's more of a groundbreaker, turning her 4-acre lot into a little slice of heaven behind the wheel of a John Deere 1 Series tractor. Renee runs with us because the most important job is the next one.
That's all I got.
Nothing runs like a Deere. Get a 1 Series tractor for just $99 per month at your John Deere dealer today. For additional cost information, please call toll-free 855-633-2315.
A message from your neighbors and friends at First Bank. We've been serving residents and businesses of Sea Isle City and the surrounding communities for more than 130 years. Today's challenges, while unique, are another opportunity to show our strength and resilience. Our commitment to you remains strong. Whether it's using our drive-through services, bank by phone, the First Bank mobile app, or online banking, we're staying strong with you. Be safe and be secure. First Bank, here for you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The radio home for Philadelphia Flyers hockey.
Big save by Carter Hart.
WENJ HD Millville, Atlantic City, 97.3 ESPN. This is Sports Bash Saturday with Josh Hennig, live from the Matt Blatt Kia Studios. Now, Sports Bash Saturday. Here's Josh Hennig.
Josh Hennig live in the Matt Blatt Kia Studios on 97.3 ESPN, second hour of the show. We're talking a lot of Eagles throughout the show. We'll get more to your comments at 609-403-0970. Also, we have comments from you guys live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter watching the show at 973 ESPN on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Don't forget, I'll give you my FanDuel Sportsbook picks for the day coming up a little bit later this hour, plus about 20 minutes from now, my conversation with UFC Welterweight champion of the world, Kamaru Usman, fighting tonight at UFC 258 on pay-per-view. But for now, we'll get back to your comments at 609-403-0973. Quarterback situation in Philadelphia. What is the future? Should Jalen Hurts be the Eagles starting quarterback 2021? Or do the Eagles need to bring in competition? Should the Eagles accept 2 second-round picks in a trade for Wentz? Where does Wentz's value? Where does he rank among other quarterbacks who are available? We have a lot to get to, and a lot of you guys have thoughts and comments, and I appreciate all of you messaging in throughout the show. I want to get to first Rich from the Villas. He texted right before we went to break there. I didn't get to it in time, but I want to get to it at the top of the hour first here. So again, Wentz, the Eagles, a lot of you got thoughts on this stuff. Rich from the Villas says, I don't think you understand that the NFL is a business. Okay. I mean, I think that's a broad statement there by you, Rich, but all right, I'll continue reading your text. Carson, he says, Carson Wentz is an employee, an asset to the company, just as you are an asset to your job. I think you misunderstood what I was saying a little bit, Rich. Typically, an NFL team, when they have a quarterback of Wentz's pedigree, they will come out and make a statement. So-and-so is our, like the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott is our quarterback. We want Dak Prescott here. They've said it multiple times. The owner of the Cowboys has said that. On the flip side, you had the Rams and 49ers completely non-committal to their quarterbacks. They said they were evaluating the quarterback situations. They said that, Goff and Garoppolo are good players. Well, Goff has already been traded, and there's a lot of speculation that Garoppolo is next to be traded. There's a difference between saying, this guy is our starting quarterback, and then saying on the other side, none of that. At no point did Jeffrey Lurie give a vote of confidence to Wentz as the Eagles quarterback. He described him as an asset. He described him as a talent. He described him as, there was a reason why we traded up to get him a second overall. At no point did Jeffrey Lurie say he is the future of the franchise. He is the franchise quarterback. He is our quarterback. He left it completely open-ended. And so did Howie Roseman. So when I'm talking about referring to him as an asset, I'm explaining that in terms of the perception the organization has of the quarterback. You don't call someone an asset as the first thing out of your mouth, if not for a reason. All right. For example, you say, at my job, I am an asset to my job. Yes, I am an asset to 97.3 ESPN, a Town Square Media Network radio station. Okay. I am an asset to my company, but my boss, all right, Mike Gill, the program director, for example, who hosts the Sports Bash Monday through Friday, would never get on the radio and say, Josh is an asset. Mike Gill will say, Josh did a good job with this, or Josh didn't do a good job with this. Hey, Josh, Josh got us this audio cut, or hey, Josh did this interview. You should listen to it. Or he would give you a superlative or a description of me that has to do with what my job is or how I'm doing or what I am doing. He wouldn't refer to me as just an asset. Calling someone an asset, it dehumanizes them. Calling someone an asset is basically saying, I don't view you as what you should be, and I'm calling you an asset for a lack of a better term. What Jeffrey Lurie, when you call, I know the NFL is a business, okay? I wasn't born yesterday, okay, Richard Levillas? Come on. If you want to say that Wentz is an asset, that's not the first thing that comes out of your mouth. The first thing that should come out of your mouth, if you are the owner of a business or you are someone's boss, would not be calling someone an asset. Just because it's a business, okay? There are people who are above Mike Gill, all right, here at my job. I have never heard any of them describe any employee in public or private as an asset. Whenever they speak publicly or privately about someone, they would say, Josh Hennig is this, or Mike Gill is that, in terms of what we are doing in our work. Josh Hennig is an on-air host and producer. Josh Hennig did a good or bad job with this. They would never call me an asset. So that's what I'm trying to put out there. Words mean a lot in this situation. A couple comments over there on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We'll get back to the text board at 609-403-0973. The Joe Show chimes in watching on YouTube, says, do you see Wentz demanding a release if he doesn't get traded, or do you see him opting out this year just so he's not with the team? All right, so let's break that down, because that is a question that I think we haven't talked about enough, Joe Show, and I'm glad you asked this question. So the Eagles will not release Wentz. It is completely and utterly cost prohibitive, all right? Let me pull up Wentz's contract real quick, because Wentz's contract is very specific about certain things. Here we go. If the Eagles were to cut Carson Wentz, just outright release him, they are on the hook for between $50 and $60 million of dead cap money. If they were just to outright release him before June 1st. After June 1st, it's a $35 million cap hit spread out over the next few years. So you would have $35 million this year, and then almost $10 million next 2 years, then $6 million last year. So either way, you are paying for that $60 million if you cut him. So Wentz can demand a release all he wants, but it's completely illogical. Now, that's why trading Wentz is the way to go. If you trade him before June 1st, there's a dead cap hit about $34 million this year, $24 million next year, $15 the year after that. If you wait until after June 1st or structured the deal that the trade wouldn't go final until after June 1st, you're spreading out about almost $10 million of dead cap money over the next 3 years. That's the specifics of Wentz's deal. So you can't release him. Now, you asked about opting out. The opt-out is a very dicey situation because, number one, the NFL put in special, unique scenarios because of the pandemic for opt-out. So, for example, Marquise Goodwin was supposed to play for the Eagles this year. He opted out because he said he wanted to protect his child because his child has certain health issues from this COVID situation. He was worried about his child getting COVID and potentially making the child's health worse or potentially the child dying, okay? because the one thing we do know about COVID is that if you have an underlying health condition, or if you are already someone who has a health issue, you are much more susceptible of having a COVID-19 problem than other people. According to the CDC, about, was it 90%? It was 89 or 90% of people who have had COVID issues had underlying health conditions. That's the CDC. That's not me. So Marquise Goodwin said, I'm opting out. Marquise Goodwin didn't get paid his full contract. All right. Marquise Goodwin got paid a percentage of his contract. So if you look at Marquise Goodwin's contract with the Eagles, he was supposed to get paid a certain amount. Instead, he got $50,000 cap hit and a $50,000 bonus. So Marquise Goodwin got $100,000, which means his contract for 2021 rolls into from last year. He was supposed to get $4 million. Instead, he got $100,000 because he opted out. Unless things are exactly the same as they were for last season, I don't see the NFL going in the direction of allowing guys to opt out again. I think the NFL learned a hard lesson from this COVID situation. And this is why I believe, because sports are a billion-dollar industry, that after this season, we will never see anything like this ever happen again. Because half these organizations were caught off guard, and the other half of them are struggling to maneuver their way through it. I don't see them allowing players to opt out the way they did in 2021, the way they did in 2020, even if things are not 100% better. So I don't see Wentz opting out, because then that means he is going to lose a majority of his money under that contract. Remember Le'Veon Bell a couple of years ago? He sat out, and he basically lost almost his entire salary for the year because he refused to report. So I don't see Wentz doing that, because I think Wentz is somebody who is a little bit too, how do I say this? I think Wentz is a sensitive individual. I really do. I think Wentz is a guy who can't really take the tough stuff. That's just my opinion. And I think that's part of the reason why this is all in there. By the way, Richard the Villa sent me the definition of asset. Rich, we're gonna have to agree to disagree, man. We are. If you take it in context of what other owners and other GMs say about their quarterbacks, and you compare it to what the Eagles said about Wentz, and then compare it to what Wentz they said about Wentz last year, you're not going to convince me of this. We're going to have to agree to disagree, Rich from the Villas. But I appreciate you texting in. Even though there is somebody who agrees with me. We do have a texter. See, this texter didn't give his name, but he understands what I'm trying to say. Okay? I mean, let me just pop it up on the video stream for all of you watching on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Texter says, if a company refers to you as an asset, they are basically saying you're a replaceable piece of the company. Exactly. They don't value you. There was no point in your life, if you valued someone, you would call them an asset. Okay? If Carson Wentz is your starting quarterback, or you think Carson Wentz is great, you're not calling him an asset. You're saying he's our starting quarterback. End of story. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking with it. That's my story. Oh, my goodness. 609-403-0973. Rich, I do appreciate you texting in. We can agree to disagree. Hopefully we can. Hopefully you're not too mad at me. Joe Show has a follow-up comment on YouTube. We'll get that before we hit the break. Joe Show says, if Wentz stays with the Eagles and doesn't play, won't the Eagles save money? Don't the Eagles take that money back? All right, so here's the mathematics of that. Yes, in terms of your budget, you're saving money. Again, Le'Veon Bell is the example we have most recently. but there's still a cap hit on your cap. You are still responsible for that money against your overall payroll for the year. So even though in terms of cash flow, you are saving money, you are not saving money against the cap because it still counts as a cap hit. So for example, Le'Veon Bell's contract with the Steelers still was a cap hit, Joe Show, but they just didn't have to actually spend the money. In the NFL, the way pro sports works, you have to account for the money before you spend it. For example, the reason why the Raiders traded away Khalil Mack was because in order for you to give in a contract extension, you have to give guaranteed money based on money available. So, for example, in order for the Raiders to trade away Khalil Mack, they didn't have to guarantee him anything. Whereas anytime a player signs a contract extension and there's $60 million, $100 million, whatever it is, guaranteed money, according to NFL rules, you have to immediately take that money and put it into an escrow account. You cannot just say, I'm guaranteeing this money and hopefully I'll pay you later, because the NFL with the Players Association has a rule that you have to put the guaranteed money aside. So as a result, you cannot just guarantee money. You have to put it in escrow. The Raiders didn't have enough money on hand to put the money in escrow for Khalil Mack. And that was a huge reason why they traded him away. So there's a difference between cash flow and salary cap money. And in the NFL, the salary cap is saying we have committed this much money to these players or this situation for this year. So the Eagles can save money on cash flow, but not save money on the actual cap. So it's wonky economics. I like the questions though, Joshua, because you're asking questions I think need to be asked because of the fact that this whole situation is it's just involved. It's a lot of layers involved. And I wish more people would have these conversations that we're having today here on a Saturday afternoon here on 97.3 ESPN, because I think that if we spent more time having these conversations instead of just screaming at each other that so-and-so sucks or so-and-so is stupid, or we could actually have a productive conversation, understand what's going on. That's why I don't watch certain TV shows. Let's leave it at that. Josh Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN. Great conversation, great feedback from all of you at 609-403-0973 and on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter watching the show. Coming up next, we're going to take a break from the football conversation. We're going to get to UFC 258 tonight. UFC Welterweight Champion of the World, Kamaru Usman, joins me on the other side of the break. We will get back to the Wentz conversation because I do have my list here. I mentioned earlier in the show, and Joe Show, put it out there. He thinks that Wentz is 20th among NFL quarterbacks. Well, I'm gonna narrow this spectrum of the quarterbacks who are available. Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Matt Ryan, Trey Lance, Mac Jones, Sam Darnold, Jimmy Garoppolo. Of the quarterbacks who are available, we can even throw in there Mitch Trubisky, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Where does Wentz rank among those quarterbacks? Because where he ranks among those quarterbacks will determine what his value is in acquiring him. So we got a lot to get to coming up on the show. Josh Hennig, Sports Bash Saturday, 97.3 ESPN FM, live on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City, and on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, watching the show on 97.3 ESPN.
It's Sixers basketball later today on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Joe Harris throws it away. Simmons with a steal. Simmons down the lane. Oh, yeah. Right down Broad Street with a two-hand jam.
The Sixers are in Phoenix to face the Suns later today. Coverage begins at 3 p.m. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN.
It's a new year with new savings at Rossi Honda. First time ever. 0% APR. Up to 60 months on HRV, CRV, Pilot, and Passport. With free oil changes, free tire protection, up to 5 years and 60,000 miles. And now, free interest. Only at Rossi Honda. Shop us 24/7 at RossiHonda.com. We treat you better, period, on Delsey Drive in Vineland.
See dealer for details.
What does Schwab's modern approach to wealth management really mean? For starters, it means delivering personal solutions for your financial goals, not ours. It means empowering investors no matter how little or how much they have. And it means providing great service. If you're not satisfied for any reason, we'll refund your eligible fee and work with you to make things right. Guaranteed. Visit schwab.com/Egg Harbor. Compare us to learn more or call the Egg Harbor Independent Branch at 609-910-4807.
Okay, set it down over there and then go to bay 5.
Indeed knows unexpected growth can stretch your business
We
thin.
need to keep going to finish.
Like Amir's warehouse. To expand capacity, he needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Babe, look, Cash Pop from the New Jersey Lottery. We just got to match one number, 1 through 15, to win.
Whoa, so easy.
Our anniversary date? September
6th?
14th.
Not to interrupt you guys, but the more numbers you play, the better your odds of winning.
Well, the 6th was our first date anniversary.
Aw, let's play both numbers.
With Cash Pop, you could win up to 250 times your wager. So pop in and play. Anything can happen in Jersey. Must be 18 or older to buy a lottery ticket. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
East Coast Roofing and Siding, protecting what you love and own. East Coast Roofing and Siding, trust us with your family and home.
Hi, I'm Larry Styler. And I'm Sean Styler. We'd like to remind you that East Coast Roofing, Siding, and Windows is a professional business open year-round and has been serving South Jersey since 1979. It seems, however, that many of you feel sorry for us in the cold and hold off calling until spring, along with everyone else. The truth is, we and our families eat as much in the winter as we do in the summer. So call us now while prices and wait times are at their lowest and learn how great financing plans can help you. And please don't feel bad. We have Long Johns and we'll wear them. So call 646-1444 or visit us online at eastcoastroofing.com. If you'll call, we'll show up.
East Coast Roofing and Siding, trust us with your family and home.
Heard the good news about COVID-19 vaccines? They're here, but you can do more than wait for your turn. Here's how. Stay at least 6 feet away from folks you don't live with. And it's risky to be indoors with them too. And masks? Well, they protect both the person wearing them and the folks around them. Wear a mask, watch your distance, and make a big difference now.
Learn more about vaccines at cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hey, sports bettors, it's Mike Gill, and I wanted to share with you how I've been cashing in on the PropSwap Sports Bets resale app. On average, sellers on PropSwap have been making $500 a month. It's easy. Just post all your betting tickets for sale on PropSwap and let them find you a buyer. Listing your ticket is always free, and if it sells, great. But if not, the bet is still yours to keep. If you're not selling sports bets on PropSwap, you're missing out on incredible side hustle. Start making extra money today by downloading the PropSwap app and selling your sports bets.
Looking for the perfect gift for your sweetheart this Valentine's Day? Why not treat your sweetie to a gift card from Dr. Lila and Back's Cosmetic Surgery Center of Cherry Hill? Gift cards can be used for anything from skincare products or services to surgery and everything in between. Hydrofacials, microneedling, skin rejuvenation, Botox, facial fillers like Juvederm, Radius, and Bellafill, liposuction, breast augmentation, and more. And Dr. Back's gift cards never expire. Call or stop in to get your Valentine's Day gift card. Call 856-MAKEOVER or visit ilovelilback.com.
Recently, Total Wireless helped Charlie Michelle stage a virtual dance recital for her friends and family.
This event was super meaningful to them.
Because when you move to Total Wireless, you can get amazing devices on nationwide 5G. And with unlimited plans starting at $25 a month, you could save up to $1,200 a year.
Thank you, Total Wireless, for helping me pull this off.
Total Wireless. Do amazing. Compatible 5G device required. 5G network in limited areas. Month equals 30 days. Savings claim made when compared to 4-line postpaid plans of leading carriers 10-2020. See terms and conditions at totalwireless.com.
This is Sports Bash Saturday with Josh Hennig, live from the Matt Blatt Kia Studios. Here's Josh Hennig.
Josh Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN. UFC Welterweight Championship belt is on the line, and the champ himself is on the line. The one and only Kamaru Usman joins us on the Boardwalk kind of hotline. Kamaru, how you doing today?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing great. I've been looking forward to this fight. I mean, you were supposed to fight Gilbert Burns a couple times already, and now you're finally going to be able to get into that cage and fight with him. What has it been like for you preparing for this fight that was supposed to happen a couple times, and now it's finally going to happen?
It's been a long and rigorous process, but I think obviously having more time now to be able to prepare to fully be ready going into the fight, I think it's only going to be to my benefit. And initially, it's a tough one to kind of swallow, fighting someone that you've known quite a bit, you've felt, you've trained with. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, this is our job, and I have to be able to go in there, put all those feelings aside, and take care of business.
What's the biggest, you feel, advantage going into a fight, knowing someone as well as you know Gilbert Burns? Because I think a lot of people, they would say, I don't know if I would ever fight a teammate. I don't know if I would ever, compete with somebody who knows me as well. But you seem to not be bothered by that at all. You seem to be very focused for this fight.
Yeah, at the end of the day, he even put it out. He said it. He said that I have something, he wants it, and he's coming to take it. And that's not something that I take very lightly. There's a reason I'm the champion, and I have to go in there and show him this is the reason I'm the champion, and you're not the champion. And so it's one of those things that you come for what I have, and I have to be able to defend it. So, he's a tough guy. I know he's tough, and he's going to come in A game. And if he really did his homework, then he's going to bring out a different savage out of me that he's never seen before.
The champ is on the line. Kamaru Usman, UFC 258 Saturday night on pay-per-view. ESPN Plus is where you can watch it. Kamaru, one of the things that's interesting about your situation is you were never handed anything. You had to work for everything you were given. You wrestled at Division II in the NCAA. You were the Ultimate Fighting Champion. You're someone who's worked hard to get where you are. Do you ever take a moment to look back and just appreciate how far you've come and what you're going to be doing in your future?
Yeah, that just goes to show just kind of my life and my journey and how I approach certain things. You can even take it a step back. I started wrestling in high school my sophomore year. So there were kids that have been wrestling. Some kids that have been wrestling since they were 3-4 years old. And I had to close that gap on all these guys. And a lot of people would say, oh, yeah, that's an obstacle a lot of people can't get over, but I didn't care about that. I was going to get over that. I was going to do whatever it took in order to be successful in it. And that just goes to show my resilience when it comes to this game. It's not me just playing a sport just to play a sport. I don't come here just to compete. I come here to win. And that's one thing that I've been doing very well, and I'm going to continue to do until I call it quits.
Well, winning is what you've been doing a lot for sure, because 3 of your last 4 wins have been against former UFC champions. You're building an amazing resume. Is that something you have a goal of? Is one of your goals maybe to be one of the best of the best all time, not just at welterweight, but if you keep going the trajectory you're going, you could be one of the best of any weight class.
Yeah, that's when I'm said and done, that's what that's what I want bestowed upon me. I want that to be put on me as a guy that not only do you fight everybody, but you beat everybody. And so that's not something that right now that I put on myself. I try not to put that pressure on myself. I just want to go in there and take it one fight at a time. And when I'm done, everyone's going to look back on my body of work and say, wow, he was really, truly the greatest.
UFC welterweight champion Kamaru Usman joining us on the Boardwalk on the Hotline. UFC 258 Saturday night on ESPN Plus pay-per-view. Kamaru, I want to ask you a question that's been asked me a lot, and that is, I know that you're a great human being. Matt Serra has told me before, you're one of the nicest people he's ever met in his life. But for a lot of people who don't understand MMA as well as someone who may be the diehard, how do you go from explain to the audience, how you go from being this wonderful, great guy outside the cage to being this dominant monster that you are when the fight starts?
It's being able to, I think for years, especially being a wrestler, I've learned and I've honed how to craft all of that, how to just hone all of that and put it together. And that's what I do very well. And I know how to turn it on and turn it off. I can turn it on and turn it off. And as soon as I cross that threshold of walking into that cage, I turn on the Nigerian Nightmare. And when I walk out of there, I have to put back on Kamaru Usman because I have a child at home, and I can't be the Nigerian Nightmare to that sweet little girl, So it's being able to learn how to turn it on and off, and I think that's part of what makes me who I am.
You mentioned your nickname, Nigerian Nightmare. For those who are in my age group, we know that was Christian Okoye's nickname when he played in the NFL. I know that Christian Okoye gave you his blessing for that nickname. Tell the story about that real quick.
Yeah, I mean, that's a nickname that it's every exceptional Nigerian in any field of their sports to be excellent, to basically just exemplify excellence. And Christian Okoye did it. Samuel Peters did it, WBC heavyweight boxing champion of the world. And now a numerous amount of soccer players, football players have done it. So now it's my turn to carry on the torch of that name in the combat world.
Kamaru, you're 33 years old, but you're a young 33. You're not someone who's had a ton of time in the octagon like some guys who might be your age. How long do you want to keep fighting? We just saw in the Super Bowl, Tom Brady's 43, Daniel Cormier fought to about 40-something years old. How long do you want to do this?
That's a good question. I don't know. It's based on how my body is able to receive it and deal with everything, because to prepare for these fights is a lot. It takes a lot out of me, especially being me in the way that I prepare. It takes a lot out of you. And so that's going to determine the longevity that I have in the sport, is how healthy I'm able to stay and how long I want to continue to do it. Because over time, there's a reason people retire. Over time, the hits and the punches, they feel okay. You can deal with them, but over time, there's just that day that you wake up and say, I don't really feel like getting hit today. And so until I think we cross that path, I think I should be all right.
He is the UFC welterweight champion of the world, defending his title at UFC 258 versus Gilbert Burns on ESPN Plus. Pay-per-view is where you can watch it. And as all guests, he appeared right here on the Boardwalk on the Hotline on 97.3 ESPN. Kamaru, it's been incredible watching your ascent, become a champion, and we look forward to seeing you defend that belt on Saturday night.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Josh Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN. Great stuff from Kamaru Usman, the welterweight champion of the world. I'll give you my full rundown of UFC thoughts and picks coming up next, and we will get back to your comments about Carson Wentz, the Eagles, and more here on 97.3 ESPN. Before we do that, I do want to just say real quick two things. One, Kamaru is fighting probably the most difficult fight of his life, which is someone who knows him intimately. And I explained this to Hunter Brody yesterday. Imagine if, for example, in hockey, Broads played hockey at the high levels. Let's say you had a goaltender that you played with for years, and you know each other from practicing, iron sharpened iron, you made each other better. And then down the road, that guy's no longer on your team. And now you're playing him in the Stanley Cup final. Or it's similar to if you have a pitcher and you're a catcher, and you guys worked together for maybe 5-6 years, and you had success, and that guy has success. But then 2 years later, you're in the World Series and you're at bat in the 9th inning in the Game 7, and that guy's on the mound and he's still throwing smoke. What are you going to do? That's what Burns versus Usman is tonight. This is more than just a title fight. This is, you're going to find out who is made of what tonight. And that's what excites me the most about this fight card tonight. This is about two guys who know each other better than anybody else on earth. And they're going into this fight and they're saying, I know how to beat you. And the other person is saying, no, I know how to beat you. And we're going to find out for sure who the real better fighter is. Because no matter what happens the rest of their careers, this is the biggest fight of both of their lives. The stakes are at the highest too, because the belt is on the line. All right, coming up next, we'll go back to your comments and questions and thoughts at 609-403-0973. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at 973 ESPN. I got my list here. Where does Carson Wentz rank among all the quarterbacks who are available right now? And that will determine what his real value is. So the list is this, just real quick to reset the table before we hit the break. Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson, Justin Fields, Matt Ryan, Jimmy G, Trubisky. Okay, well, the rookies are Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Trey Lance. Your free agents are Mitch Trubisky and Ryan Fitzpatrick. Your tradable quarterbacks are Deshaun Watson, Matt Ryan, Sam Darnold, Carson Wentz, and Jimmy Garoppolo. So among the list of those guys, where does he rank? Where does he sit among all those guys? We'll get to that next here on Sports Bash Saturday on 97.3 ESPN FM. The text board is open at 609-403-0973. We watch the show at 973 on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Also, 97.3 ESPN mobile app. It's free for all of your Eagles, Sixers, Phillies, Flyers coverage and high school sports coverage. And you can listen to all the shows right there on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. It's free thanks to First Bank of Seattle City.
Today on the NBA on ESPN Radio.
Back to Curry, squares for three. Steph Curry lighting up the Oracle like he does on most nights.
Steph Curry and the Warriors welcome Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets, marking Durant's return to the Bay for the first time since leaving Golden State. It's the NBA on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 8 p.m.
This month, let me offer you some presidential advice. Leave your dollar in your wallet when you get 0% APR financing from Matt Blatt Kia.
Matt Blatt Kia wants to get you out of that old car you hate. Come in today or visit us online and get the credit you deserve. 0% APR financing available for up to 60 months on new 2021 Kia Sportage, K5, and Forte models. Or take $4,000 off MSRP on new 2020 Kia Niros in stock. Plus Matt Blatt Kia in Toms River and Egg Harbor Township wants your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Don't forget, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
Offers approved Tier 1 and 2 credit for Kia Motors Finance. Not all will qualify. 0% based on 1516 per 1,000 par. 4,000 all 2020 euros with 2,500 Kia Motors factory rebate to dealer. 1,500 Matt Blatt Kia discount. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details. Expires 3/4/2021.
Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township. And now on Route 37 in Toms River.
If you're struggling with a drug or alcohol addiction, now is the time to take action and get professional help. Call Recovery Centers of America at 1-888-RECOVERY today. You are worthy of recovery from your addiction, and calling RCA will be your first step in getting the help you need. Recovery Centers of America answers the phone and admits patients 24/7. And because safety is a top priority, all patients and staff are routinely tested for COVID-19. RCA's expert team of physicians and medical professionals will treat you with compassion and dignity and provide an evidence-based treatment plan that is custom tailored to your specific needs. Recovery Centers of America America at Devon and Lighthouse are local and in-network with insurance providers, so they're best-in-class inpatient and outpatient care, offered both in-person and via teletherapy, is affordable and accessible. Make this the year you conquer your addiction. Call today, 1-888-RECOVERY. That's 1-888-RECOVERY.
In honor of President's Day, Dell delivers savings to help America's small businesses get more done. Office Anywhere, with up to 50% off high-performance laptops, desktops, and servers with Intel Core processors and top-brand electronics. Plus, refresh now with flexible financing options. Call 877-ASK-DELL for a Dell Technologies advisor who can help you find the right tech. That's 877-ASK-DELL or visit Dell.com/President's Day.
When you want experience, go for the best. Pick up the phone and call Dennisville Fence.
Right now, Dennisville Fence is installing your neighbor's new fence. Right now, another neighbor is signing up for their new fence job. Right now is the best time to get started on your new fence or railing project, because right now, the pandemic is causing major supply chain delays. What used to take days can now take weeks or months. So the earlier you start on your new fence or railing project, the more likely you'll finish your project on time, and the sooner you'll enjoy more privacy, safety, security, and style. Don't delay your new fence or railing project. Get started today. Dennisville Fence is open, and we are now scheduling new estimates for spring installations and also offering material sales for DIY and new construction projects.
Go with experience, go for the best. Pick up the phone and call Dennisville Fence. 1-800-499-FENCE.
Visit DennisvilleFence.com.
Do you love a good cigar almost as much as your family? Well, maybe that's an exaggeration, but you can find that perfect cigar at Smokers Haven. With 5 New Jersey locations, Smokers Haven has the finest selection of cigars in the area, like Ashton, My Father's, Romeo and Julieta, Monte Cristo, and more. All from the finest tobacco leaves and hand-rolled by the world's finest cigar makers. All locations are fully open. Stop in and let them help you find the perfect cigar to pair with your life. See all they have and their locations at SmokersHavenNJ.com.
Hey, bro. I don't think I can help you move Saturday. My back is really bugging me. I just don't think I can handle it. Sorry.
Hey, dude, it's John. I know I told you I'd be able to help you move. I think Michelle's really mad at me for something. What's that, honey? Oh, dude, I gotta go. Sorry, man.
Call Clark's Moving and Storage in South Jersey for your next local or long-distance move. Clark's, dependable and always shows up. Call 609-889-0780.
Wendy's new classic chicken sandwich is now in the 2 for $5, and that's reason to celebrate. Try the new classic and then take your mouth on a victory lap with the iconic Dave's Single, the delicious spicy chicken sandwich, spicy or crispy 10-piece nuggets, or just get another classic chicken sandwich. Taste greatness today with Wendy's 2 for $5. We got you.
For a limited time, a la carte only. Price and participation may vary. U.S. Wendy's.
Kendall Auto Plaza offers the area's best car and truck buying experience with 60 years of customer satisfaction and community service. What's on their 100-acre lot? A huge inventory of Ford, Lincoln, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Chrysler, and over 100 quality and certified pre-owned vehicles. Whether you use your car, truck, or SUV for work or play, discover why Kendall customers are so loyal. Kendall Auto Plaza, exit 10 of the Parkway on Stone Harbor Boulevard, or shop from home at KendallAutoplaza.com.
This is Sports Bash Saturday with Josh Hennig, live from the Matt Blatt Kia Studios. Here's Josh Hennig.
Josh Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN. Sports Bash Saturday, hanging out with you. Of course, text board is open at 609-403-0973. We got people on Facebook, YouTube. We'll get your comments in just a moment as well. Also give you my UFC 258 picks for tonight. The FanDuel Sportsbook options for you to get in on here on 97.3 ESPN. So I got my list here. As I was explaining to everybody yesterday and the day before, Carson Wentz, I don't feel like we fully understand his trade market value because his value is dependent on the rest of the market in some ways. So, I went out there and said, look, where does he rank? And I'll get to what Joe Show said in just a minute. So here's how I'm ranking, and I'm ranking this completely objectively. This is not about my personal preference. This is how I think the rest of the NFL views these quarterbacks. All right. This is how I think Wentz stacks up compared to the other available quarterbacks. So you're going to have 5 guys drafted probably in the first round. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys available via trade. And there's 2 available via free agency, quarterback-wise. So I lumped them all in the one pot here. All right? And there we go. The number 1, I think, in the NFL is Trevor Lawrence. The Jags are not giving up a chance to acquire him. In fact, we know that Urban Meyer came back just to coach this guy. All right? That's why Urban Meyer's here. So he is the number 1 most desired quarterback this offseason. Number 2 is Deshaun Watson. He's a bona fide superstar. He's fully established. Yes, he has a fat contract, but I think that Watson is number 2 on that list. The number 3 guy is Justin Fields. I think that he is a guy that some teams view on the same level as Trevor Lawrence, like a 1A and 1B. Other teams are down on him because of the turnovers he's had in college. But I think that enough teams, if they're honest with themselves, are willing to admit that he has a high ceiling, and his high ceiling makes him very appealing. The number 4 guy available this offseason is Matt Ryan. Former NFL MVP, led a team to the Super Bowl, has been productive even when his own team is garbage. He has over 4,000 passing yards the last 10 years, every year. His completion percentage is above 65%, and I think he's still got about 2-3 good years left in him. The number 5 guy on my list is Zach Wilson. Not because I think he's better, but because I think other NFL teams view Wilson and Fields as a coin flip. I have concerns about Wilson's injury history. I have concerns about Wilson and his big game moments. He's been very inconsistent. One big game, he's great. Another big game, he's not so great. Does he have the intangibles? Yes. Does he have the talent? Yes. And I think teams are valuing him high. And the reason why he might be drafted ahead of Justin Fields is because people are evaluating his potential and not evaluating his actual game. So I think that's why Wilson, I'm saying, is on this list, at least, 5th among what NFL teams value. So those are the top 5. So I have Wentz outside the top 5. Now, the Joe Show said earlier that Wentz ranks around 4th or 5th among those quarterbacks. But then he commented a minute later, maybe 6th or 7th. So I agree with Joe Show. Wentz, to me, is not one of the top 5 available quarterbacks this offseason. So that in and of itself should tell you that what your value in a trade would be for him. So where do I have Wentz? He's not in the top 5. Joe Show says 6 or 7. And I agree with that. I have Wentz 7th on my list. And I have him behind Sam Darnold. And here's why. Sam Darnold, I think, is more valued by other teams because he has a smaller contract. There is less money committed to him long term. Darnold doesn't have the history of inconsistency that Wentz does. I think that's a big part of this. Darnold is just coming from a bad situation. That's not all his fault. Whereas Wentz is coming from a situation that was good and then got poor. That's completely different. Wentz has 2 years on his resume where you said this guy can be a superstar. The 2017 run and December 2019. That's the things that NFL evaluators are holding on to. Darnold, while he doesn't have 2 years to point to, he has what they call untapped potential. He falls into that Jim Plunkett category of not good with the first team, could be better with the second team kind of thing. Doug Williams didn't win a Super Bowl with Tampa, won it with Washington. There's a history of quarterbacks who didn't have success with the team that drafted them, but had success somewhere else. So That's why I say I think Darnold for NFL teams is ahead of Wentz. Now, behind Wentz, the 5 quarterbacks in order I have Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones is going to be a very good NFL quarterback. I think he could be a better version of Alex Smith. Trey Lance, he's a wild card. People love his upside, but I think that he's still a raw prospect. Raw, similar to Josh Allen coming out of college, but not as talented arm talent as Josh Allen. A little more athletic. Jimmy Garoppolo then after those 2 rookies. Garoppolo is so dependent on being in a good situation. I don't know if he was in on a team like Denver, if he would have success. He obviously has shown you the ability to lead you to a Super Bowl, but the problem with Garoppolo is the injury history. And I think the injury history is very damning on him at this point for the injuries he had with New England and 2 different times with San Francisco. After Garoppolo, to me, it depends on who you are. If you're a team that needs a flyer on a young quarterback, you go Trubisky. If you're a team that needs a veteran to come in here and stabilize the situation or hold the fort down until the rookie is ready, you go with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Josh Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN. Dan from EHT says, so what you're saying is the Eagles need a sucker to take Carson Wentz, similar to how they unloaded McNabb to Washington. I don't know about a sucker, but they need someone who's actually going to be willing to say they can fix Wentz. And there's somebody out there. There's always somebody who thinks I can fix him. Listen, there's a reason why Josh Rosen has been on 4 NFL practice fields in the last few years. The Cardinals drafted him. The Dolphins acquired him. The Bucs put him on their practice squad. He mentored under Brady. And then Kyle Shanahan brought him to his roster. There's always going to be someone who thinks that you have value if you are a high draft pick and you have talent. And Carson Wentz has way more proven on his resume than Josh Rosen has, which is absolutely 0. So, yes, you can find somebody out there. Now, Joe Show has a couple comments here I got to get to. I can't let this go. Joe Shows thinks Matt Ryan is washed up. Maybe. Is a guy washed up if he throws for 4,000 passing yards and a 65% completion percentage? If that's washed up, then a lot of teams need a washed up quarterback. Now, he thinks Trevor Lawrence is a bust. That is a huge thing to say because there's literally nobody on earth aside from Joe Show who thinks that Lawrence is a bust. That's intense. That's an intense take by the Joe Show. He also says, watching the show on 97.3 ESPN YouTube, he says, do you really think that Justin Fields ranks ahead of Wentz on the list? I do, because I love I love Fields' leadership qualities. I think that you don't go to Ohio State and lead them to the college football playoff and have the success you do if you're not a bona fide leader. And I think Fields is a bona fide leader in ways that Wentz isn't, because Wentz can't identify with his teammates. I don't think Wentz has the ability to lead the guys in the locker room the way Fields can. And I think Fields has shown himself to be a really, really good player as well. So that's why I would take Fields ahead of Wentz. All right. UFC Picks, a texter chimed in and says, Usman Covington 1 in the future. Usman Covington 2 are both bigger than tonight's Usman versus Burns fight. Texture goes on to say also Usman versus Masvidal was a top 10 pay-per-view event. This won't even sniff top 20. That was also a bigger fight. But see, you're missing what I was saying. This is not a bigger fight in terms of pay-per-view buys. This isn't a bigger fight in terms of that kind of thing. This is a bigger fight in terms of both of those guys' careers. This will make or break these guys' careers. If Usman can't beat Burns, then where is he in the paradigm of his career? He will have to refight Burns to get that loss off of his resume. Usman has already beaten 3 former champs on his way to being the UFC welterweight champion and be defending the championship belt. You can't lose to Burns if you are trying to vie for that title as one of the greatest welterweights of all time. I get the Covington fights were bigger in terms of pay-per-views. The Masvidal was bigger fight in terms of pay-per-views. But this is a bigger fight in terms of legacy. Because if Burns can't beat Usman, then he's in purgatory. He's in no man's land. He moved up from 155 to be at 170 because he didn't have to cut the weight anymore. He can't go back to 155 because he has trouble cutting the weight. So where does he go? If he can't beat the champ, then what does he do? Does he wait around for Usman to maybe lose to somebody and then fight for the belt again? If the fight is close, does he try to get a rematch? That's what I mean in terms of this is a huge fight for both of these guys. All right. FanDuel Sportsbook picks of the day this weekend. Sixers playing the Suns. Same game parlay insurance. Use promo code Hennig with FanDuel Sportsbook when you sign up. Promo code Hennig with FanDuel Sportsbook. Same game parlay. I am going over 221 for Sixers and Suns, and I'm parlaying that with 24.5 for Devin Booker on the points. That's a plus 197 value. Also, in terms of the NBA, tomorrow game is Lakers and Nuggets. It's the big TV game tomorrow. I'm taking the over on that spread as well. UFC, I'm going Usman. I am going Gastelum. I love this Grasso-Barber fight, but I'm going to go Barber. I think that she learned something from her last loss. That parlay for Barber, Usman, and Usman, Barber, and Gastelum is 301. If you want to go Grasso, that would be plus 277. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks to the champ for joining us, Kamaru Usman, on the show today. I'm Josh Hennig. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I'll catch you Monday right here on 97.3 ESPN.
It's a new day.
Start off the new year with a new ride from Rossi Honda. Get a great deal from our huge selection of certified pre-owned Hondas with a 12,000-mile bumper-to-bumper warranty, a 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Plus, Rossi's free oil changes for 2 years or 24,000 miles.